JCD Bros.
In 2020, one company stepped up to fix the Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift from scratch. After years of failures, they finally solved the technical challenges and released a drop-in solution that fixed the Joy-Con drift. GuliKit pioneered Hall effect sensor for Joy-Cons. Their innovation became widely adopted and set a new standard in gaming industry. Now, they are bringing the same engineering ambition to the game controller. This is GuliKit TT MAX, a Trihybrid professional-grade controller that blends design elements from three major controllers. In this video, we will explore the story behind GuliKit, how they built the world's first Hall effect sensor for Joy-Cons. We will get into the Trihybrid design and what actually means by combining three major controller layouts when you are gaming. We will look at the real-world performance, and the customization goes deeper than most controllers at this price. And there are less obvious areas you should know before considering buying one. By the end, you will know if TT MAX is worth it, who is this controller actually built for, and understand why GuliKit is building it. Shu here from JCD Bros. 10 years as a product manager, I know when the product actually delivers. If you like honest reviews, gaming hardware and stories, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. GuliKit sent me this controller to review, and just like all my reviews, all opinions are my own. No money exchanged hands, and they didn't see this video before it went live. There's a link down in the description if you are thinking picking one up. Now, sit back and relax, we have a lot to cover. Let's dive in. GuliKit was founded in 2015, based in Shenzhen, China. They started out as a B2B manufacturer. During their early days, one of their most notable products was the world's first Bluetooth adapter for Nintendo Switch, making wireless audio possible for the console. Back in 2020, GuliKit started from scratch, set to solve the Joy-Con drift. What follows was brutal. They went through 3 major redesigns and 6 scraps production modes. They basically hit a wall. Because the Joy-Cons is a low-power device, the low-power supply made Hall effect sensors nearly impossible to stabilize. So they pivoted to build a Hall effect sensor for a full-size controller, and that succeeded. With the experience, they shifted their focus back to the Joy-Con, and finally created the world's first Hall effect sensor for Joy-Cons. But they didn't stop there. Although they pioneered the Hall effect sensor for Joy-Cons, they also integrated the next generation TMR sensor. TMR offers higher precision and lower power draw. So it's actually another step up from Hall effect sensor. With years of technical experience, they decided to make their own professional grade controller. This is where TT MAX comes in. TT MAX is a PC-focused professional grade tri-hybrid controller that combines major design elements from PlayStation controller, Xbox Elite controller, and Switch Pro controller. Before we get into the specs, let's start with how this controller actually feels in hand. The size of the TT MAX is slightly wider than the standard Xbox controller. You can feel it if you are used to that form factor. My hands are on the medium to small size, so I definitely notice the difference. Part of the reason is muscle memory. Your hands will get used to a certain size and shape, so when you pick up something slightly wider, you definitely feel it. But I think most people will adapt without any issue. There is a soft rubbery coating on the surface. It's less slippery and feels nicer to hold. Now let's talk about what actually makes this a tri-hybrid controller. It starts with the joystick layout. There are a couple of reasons why it uses symmetrical joystick layout. Because some pro players prefer symmetrical sticks over standard asymmetrical design, and there's a demand for this form factor. The data shows around 26% of PC gamers are using PlayStation controller, which has symmetrical layout. It also comes with additional joystick caps with different heights, giving you more way to customize. This controller uses GuliKit latest tension adjustable TMR joystick, allow you to adjust the stick resistance to your preference. Because this is a tension adjustable joystick, there are some issues you should be aware of if you are thinking getting this controller. We will talk more about that later. It comes with additional D-pad and extra set of face buttons. Both D-pad and face buttons are hot swappable. The D-pad actually surprised me. It's a classic floating D-pad. It really feels good to use. I really enjoy using it for platformers, retro games, and fighting games. But the D-pad sits pretty close to the left joystick. The first time using it, sometimes my thumb would bump into the joystick during gameplay, but I got used to it pretty quickly. If it's border use, using a taller thumbstick will give you extra clearance to avoid it. For the face button, it uses conductive silicone membrane. They are quiet compared to mechanical micro switches. You can also swap the face buttons for Xbox or Switch layout. It has 4 back buttons and comes with 4 metal back pedals, similar to the designs like Xbox Elite controller. For FPS games, I will use all 4 back pedals and map them to my most used face buttons. That way, my thumbs can always stay on the joystick. The trigger buttons has dual mode triggers, analog or micro switch. It also comes with a Hyperlink 2 wireless adapter. It supports almost all GuliKit controllers and major official controllers. It also comes with a plastic case. It has 2 color options. There is also a special color only available from their distributor. Now let's look at the rest of the hardware. Some of it you can't really see from the outside. It has 950 mAh battery, officially rated for 14 to 26 hours of playtime. In my testing, I got around 12 hours before it triggered the low battery alert. For the haptics, it uses GuliKit patented Maglev vibration model. You get a strong traditional rumble. But what surprised me is that on Nintendo Switch, it also delivers HD rumble. Not many controllers can support both. If you look at the whole package, the TT Max actually comes with a lot of hardware features to let you customize everything to your preference. Here's how it sounds. One thing to note, the back buttons might sound a bit different from left to right when you click them, but I can confirm even though the clicking sound is slightly different, it does not affect the functionality at all. Now let's see how it actually performs. For pulling rate, even though the Hyperlink 2 dongle is a Bluetooth adapter, for wireless connection the latency is surprisingly low, almost the same as the wired connection. For the stick analysis, the Bluetooth connection noise is slightly higher compared to wired connection, but I haven't run into any issues with wireless gaming. The trade circle is fine with some errors. Since this is a tension adjustable joystick, even though without any adjustment it returns to center pretty fast. If you max out the tension, you will feel the joystick require more force to push, but the return to center becomes slightly faster, and the software doesn't fall short either. There are 11 function settings in total. You can map the back buttons, set up autopilot mode, and more. The most notable feature is autopilot gaming. Think of it like a screen recording, but for your controller inputs, and it can record up to 10 minutes. You hit a record button, do a sequence in game, and it remembers every button you press. Later, you can play back the recording and let the controller repeat itself. You can also calibrate the joystick and gyro directly from the controller. You can do all this without installing a separate app. But it's a double-edged sword because there is no user interface. To use all the functions, you need to get familiar and memorize the button combination and steps. Since this is a Trihybrid controller, let's do a quick comparison with the Xbox Elite controllers. The advantage of Elite controller is that it includes an audio jack and supports Xbox console natively. But when it comes to accessories, only the highest tier comes with back pedals, extra thumbstick, and swappable D-pad. The TT Max, on the other hand, is 50% cheaper. All accessories are included, priced at $82. During sales, you might be able to get it below $70. This controller is designed primarily for PC, but it also works with mobile and Nintendo Switch. For the Nintendo Switch, you are getting better hardware and software customization than Switch Pro controller. The key features like stick wake function, HD rumble, and gyro are also available, but it isn't without any downsides. The problem is with no Deadzone mode. The TMR sensors are incredibly sensitive that they pick up a stick inability to return to a perfect physical zero. This centering issue means you're likely to see some slow drift on screen if your game doesn't have its own Deadzone. For casual games, you will never notice this because those games have huge built-in buffers. But if you are a competitive FPS player looking for that raw stick movement, this is a trade-off you are making for this long-life sensor. Next is the user experience. If you are a casual gamer, it can feel overwhelming. You will need to spend some time with the menu to remember how to do everything, and updating the firmware is not seamless. Currently, you can only update firmware using PC, and you have to follow very specific instructions. And there are also few small annoyances. Once you attach the back panels or taller thumbstick cap, you can't close the carry case anymore. Changing tension for the joystick and face buttons require dedicated tools. Being able to swap face button layouts is great, but if you are not careful, you can easily scratch the buttons. To summarize, after going through the negatives, the TT Max still offers incredible hardware customization, unique features like autopilot gaming, and Maglev rumble. The main negatives is the stick centering issue. It might affect some players. There's a learning curve for this controller, and the firmware updates might bother some casual players. If you love customization and don't mind the learning curve, you can get a lot of value from this controller. If the negatives I mentioned bother you, then this controller might not be the one for you. After pioneering Hall effect joystick and becoming an industry leader, GuliKit decided to challenge themselves further. Instead of just making components that set out to build a complete product from the ground up, TT Max is their statement. A Trihybrid controller combining design elements from 3 official controllers. It's a feature-packed, pro-grade controller that wants to challenge the big names at half the price. This controller is not perfect, and there are areas that can improve and polish overall user experience. But for the price and all the features it offers, the ambition and value are hard to ignore. Tension adjustable TMI joysticks, maximum customization and compatibility. GuliKit named this controller with clear intention, and that clarity shows in the final product. If you are still here, you like honest reviews, gaming hardware and stories, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And you might want to check out the video at the corner. It's about a hybrid controller with capacitive joystick. Cheers guys, have a good one.